Domo domo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to this week's Manga Lounge Jujutsu Kaisen edition. We are here for Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 129. What is going on with my hair right now? Let me... That works, whatever. Thank you so much again for coming back, for spreading that positive juju every week, coming and liking and commenting and all that good stuff. You know, I've been seeing a lot of new faces in the comments section and stuff, and it's always nice to see the fan base grow. So I got a little question for you guys, if you don't mind me asking. I was hoping you guys, if you could take a couple seconds to comment what country you guys are from. The reason why I asked this is because not too long ago, there was an article about the Jump Plus editor Momiyama, Chief Momiyama, who works at Shueisha. Apparently they released this list of basically top countries for readership for their Manga Plus service. I do freelance translation for Viz, which is a subsidiary of Shueisha, basically the company that makes Shonen Jump. But Shueisha has their kind of direct app called the Manga Plus app, which I'm sure many of you here know. Kind of their version, it's basically the same content. Although the big difference is that it only has the first 3 chapters and the latest 3 chapters of any series that they have on there, which is why a lot of the readership, I'm sure, is reading their manga on Viz, the Viz.com and the Shonen Jump app, right? But I got curious because they kind of had their list here. I'm just going to go ahead and list off the top 20 here. And I have to give credit to Caleb Cook, who is a good friend of mine, and he is the translator for My Hero Academia, World Trigger, Dr. Stone, among other things as well. But he's got it nice and laid out here in English, nice enough to let me use this. So not chapter, the number one biggest readership is the United States. Then at second we have Thailand, then Indonesia, Mexico, Philippines, then Spain and Malaysia, then Brazil, Peru, and Germany rounding out the top 10. Then we have in 11th is Italy, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, France, India, Canada, UK, Vietnam at 19th, and Singapore for the top 20. And I realized, so this is, I should also say that this is just for the month of September, so the numbers could fluctuate definitely, but this definitely gives us a good idea of what we're looking at. Obviously, just a quick glance, a lot of Southeast Asia readers. You know, USA is at number 1, but then we have Thailand and Indonesia. Thailand is not a very big population to begin with. Indonesia is the 4th biggest country in terms of population in the world, right, if I'm not mistaken. Mexico is probably like 10th or something like that. I believe 10th. Brazil obviously is a big country as well. 5th, maybe right behind Indonesia. But yeah, so a lot of European countries as well. And of course we have our South American representation. But yeah, it just kind of got me curious. Enough about that. We are here to read chapter 129, Shibuya Incident Part 46. Incoming. Here we go. Let's do this. All right, remember, so we left off last chapter with Mahito using his body repel on a lot of bodies. And then so they are out in street level right now, right smack dab in the middle of Shibuya, a little bit kind of on the western side, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, first couple of lines here is the same lines that Mahito was saying to Itadori at the end of last chapter. But I love this, you know, this kind of Todo obviously So great, such a character, you know. I like how realistically Octami Sensei is kind of portraying him, in the sense that, yeah, Todo's the kind of guy that if he were to be left out of a fight like that, left out of the conversation, so to speak, that he would definitely take it personally, right? So I like the fact how there's this little line here like, hey, come on now, did you forget about me? And then pew, does a little switch here. So it seems what he does here is he switches Itadori with Mahito to bring Mahito to him, basically, right? Yeah, then we move on to page 3, and Mahito is making good use of this kind of new, you know, we haven't really seen him do this in the earlier fights, you know, against Nanami, or maybe he did, I just missed it. But this kind of idea of dismemberment, you know, when he knows that he's about to get hit pretty hard, he can just like a salamander or something, right? But then we get this weird, like, the eyes coming out. Kind of reminds me of Men in Black. You know the scene I'm talking about with Tony Shalhoub in the shop, and they shoot his head off and it grows back. But yeah, so he's essentially split himself into two here. And then he uses something new here, you know, soul multiplicity we've seen before. What he basically does is he takes kind of multiple weak bodies, which now have the effect of the rejection. Remember, when you use soul multiplicity, what it does is you're basically fusing multiple transfigured bodies together, and this kind of forced fusion kind of creates this rejection, right? And then that rejection is kind of this potential energy, which later on is, if you're going to go with science terms, kind of turned into an outburst of kinetic energy, right? So what he does here is he seems to, you know, kind of put together multiple transfigured humans into kind of this body form, and this term, you know, polymorphic is the idea of multiple forms, right? Multiple transfigured humans in this case. And then isomer is, I have the definition here somewhere. Hold on, before I confuse anyone. So an isomer is defined in chemistry anyways as each of two or more compounds with the same formula but a different arrangement of atoms in the molecule and different properties. In terms of physics, it's defined as each of two or more atomic nuclei that have the same atomic number and the same mass number but different energy states. You know, obviously when Akutami Sensei uses this term isomer, they're not meaning for it to be like quite literal, right? But you get the idea. This idea of kind of multiple atoms, multiple nuclei of transfigured humans in this case, and then kind of being combined into one, right? Again, I'm not a scientist, so I might have kind of fudged the explanation a bit, but yeah, we went with polymorphic soul isomer. And then obviously Todo always thinking, and he notices the split here, but he kind of makes the assumption that it's probably not just a 50-50, that since Mahito, the head, is kind of keeping its distance, that it's probably the weaker one, right? It wouldn't send the weaker one towards danger, right? It would want to keep that away. But that said, the weaker one is probably the one that has kind of like the critical hit, the soul in it, right? And then he also makes the assumption that this polymorphic soul isomer is, you know, a grade 2 or a grade 3, not a big deal. And then page 7, and he just goes flying Dragon Ball style here. And I love the kind of the 2-page spread here on 8, 9, pages 8 and 9, where, you know, he's just kind of bouncing through the building, and it's, you know, this is kind of classic manga, battle manga, just, you know, and then the streaks of so it's great. But Todo obviously is very good at you know, using the cursed energy to reinforce the defenses. And he has the mind to kind of pick up this rock apparently, and he's able to throw this rock, kind of what I was talking about in the last couple chapters, that I thought he was going to do something like this with the necklace, you know, throw the necklace perhaps and switch with that. But I don't know anymore, especially in a couple pages we get a look at the necklace that might have insinuated something different. But this is, you know, it's easy to kind of glance over this page and not really think twice about it. But the fact that he's able to pick up this stone and he seems to be able to kind of infuse it with cursed energy, which is huge. Because, you know, when it comes to Todo and Boogie Woogie, the kind of, I don't know, yeah, I would say if there is the weakness, kind of an exploit, it's the fact that when it's a one-on-one, you know, it could be difficult if there's nothing else to switch with anyways, like objects or people and stuff, that perhaps there is a certain nullification of the ability, right? But the fact that he's able to pick up this stone and then just throw it, you know, infuse it with this cursed energy and throw it and switch with that, then all of a sudden, you know, who knows what else is possible. So this is kind of a big deal when it comes to Boogie Woogie, right? Kind of makes you wonder what else he can do. I could go more and more into Boogie Woogie and kind of the the ways of utilizing and stuff, but I'll keep it at there for now. Before I also make any false claims as well. But he then he just, you know, just one flap to the to the head here, and then grunch, and he notices that, you know, it's dead. Only one hit after all that power, all that powerful hit, and it only takes one hit. But then he quickly deduces that that is just an overwhelming explosive power, because what it basically does is, you know, it has multiple transfigured humans in it, and the trade-off is that it uses all of it at once. It burns it all at once, you know, kind of like a nitrous or something like that, right? Just kind of just burning all that energy at once and having that output, but it's kind of like an all or nothing. So he describes it as a transfigured human attack specialist. You know, that they're not there to prolong the fight or anything like that, or to have a certain amount of defensive capabilities, that they're just there. It did its job. It got that one hit in, and it's pretty much just, you know, a sack of meat after that. But he also sees that there are two more on the way. And then on page 12, he gives this little kiss to the necklace here, which certainly isn't just kind of like there randomly, right? This necklace has some sort of significance. And I should reiterate that this necklace is something that we haven't seen, if I'm not mistaken, as far as I know anyways, before Todo arrived in Shibuya here. So it's not like he wears it all the time. Like, he didn't have it with him at the Goodwill event arc, for example. But, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, well, what is the significance of this necklace to him? You know, anytime someone has that kind of attachment to like a piece of jewelry or something like that, it's of someone they, you know, like a wife, or perhaps a mother or father or what have you, right? Someone dear to them. So that, again, this is just I could be overreading it, but it seems to imply some sort of, that it has some sort of sentimental value to him. And, you know, we really don't know much about Todo outside of the fact that, you know, his kind of relationship, so to speak, with the Kyoto school. You know, it's not like they hate each other or anything like that. He's definitely part of the team. It's just, you know, he has his eccentricities. But otherwise, all that we really know about him is that he knows Yuki Tsukumo to a certain degree as well. You know, it seems to be kind of like, you know, a master-student kind of relationship, but that's unclear as well. You know, what we saw was very, very brief. Yuki just kind of approaching Todo, and that was about it. you know, it might not even be like a master student relationship. Just the same way as Yuki and, you know, Yuki approached Geto, but it's not like that they're master and student. They just had a chat, you know, so perhaps Todo and Yuki just had a little chat too. And, you know, and Yuki, perhaps, we're not too sure what her curse technique is, but she certainly has, based on the fact that we've seen her with Todo and Geto, she's kind of deviated their paths, right? She's really influenced their paths. Todo, when we saw him in the 3rd grade, you know, beating up a high school kid, he was talking about how he was all bored and this and that, but the fact that, you know, he met Yuki seemed to be kind of this catalyst for Todo to find something greater and go down the path of Jujutsu Sorcerer. And for Geto, obviously, we know, not that Yuki, you know, decided that for him, but she certainly influenced Geto's kind of mindset, right? So perhaps she has some sort of, you know, maybe it's not all that it seems with Yuki. But anyways, before I deviate too much, again, we see Mahito here referring to Todo as the top-knot gorilla, and I love this little image here of Mahito in the corner, you know, just kind of the way that it's drawn, like his hair and stuff too, and his kind of his clothes. Very cool, just that one corner there, you know. So finally, you know, Mahito saying, finally we have a little bit of time to ourselves here, and then he's piling on the attacks here, and Itadori is really focused right now, apparently able to dodge it, but Mahito grabs him and throws him again, Dragon Ball style. And then Mahito is willing, you know, he's like, all right, time to pile it on, and he's chasing after Itadori, but then boom, Todo already finished with his business. And I love that, you know, and I love that little on page 16 here, we see Mahito kind of on the left side, that kind of like, God, he's done already, damn. And then, you know, the cocky one-liner by Todo, you really don't want me joining in on the fun, huh? And so yeah, so he's taking care of the two isomers already, and Mahito clearly starting to realize the perhaps disadvantage that he's at now, talking about how it's really hard to land a hit on Todo. That said, if he uses domain expansion, obviously there's the threat of Sukuna, right? And you know, for as little as we know about barrier techniques, we do know that when it comes to domain expansion, it's very much a very sensitive thing. You know, it's hard to control, it's hard to master. I think we just, our kind of opinion of domain expansion is a little bit distorted because we've seen the likes of Sukuna and, you know, Gojo use it to such effectiveness, but really it's not supposed to be that easy. But, you know, then we have Mahito saying, all right, so what to do? And the one who taught me that, of course, being Gojo, as we see Mahito using self-embodiment of perfection here with a domain expansion of 0.2 seconds. Again, referring to when Gojo used it against him and Jogo and Hanami in the subway, right? Which was chapter 90 is the Geto reveal, so it was probably chapter 89. But yeah, obviously, you know, Todo recognizing that it's suicide. Itadori obviously surprised as well, because they're in this fight with thinking that he's not going to be able to use his domain expansion based on the knowledge that they have before. So it seems that Todo also is informed to a certain degree as well. The fact that Todo recognizes the fact that he's about to use domain expansion and the threat that is Sukuna, either he's able to put two and two together that quickly, or intel between Kyoto school and Tokyo school is a lot more fluid than we perhaps were led to believe. Yeah, it's interesting what Mahito is trying to do here is saying, okay, I can't exclude. I don't have the control over my domain to exclude Itadori from domain expansion. So his conclusion is I'm going to use it, but for only 0.2 seconds. Kind of the same way that Gojo said, okay, I can't use it without killing everyone or making them go brain dead, basically. I'm going to use it only for 0.2 seconds. And remember, that was just, Gojo even explained it when he used it. That was just kind of like or the narration explained it. That was just kind of like a feeling that Gojo had. It wasn't an exact science or anything. So it's kind of curious to see what like Mahito is really trying to achieve here, because he's going to use it, and then Sukuna, we know how quick Sukuna can be. So I mean, I don't know. I really I'm just as surprised as Todo and Itadori here. Kind of like I had the same opinion. It's like, what? Even if it is only 0.2 seconds, that's all you need for Sukuna to right? He can finish off people like that. So I'm not too sure what's going on here, but I have faith in Akutami Sensei that they're going to present us with something interesting next week for chapter 130. That's pretty much. Oh yeah, of course. And I have Mahito on my shirt today. But yeah, it's action-packed chapters. And perhaps next week we won't even get back into this fight. Maybe we'll flash sideways somewhere else. Who knows? We again haven't heard from Meimei and Fate Geto in forever. Although the fact that we haven't heard from them in this much time makes me think that there is something serious going on there. In the fact that like Fate Geto is probably going to reveal his identity or something, right? And Akutami Sensei is holding off on that, or Meimei, God forbid, has joined the other side. Definitely a possibility. Or maybe she's dead. Who knows? We don't know what's going on with Toge. The last we heard from him was when he ran into Itadori, and he seemingly kind of evacuated the people to kind of a corner of Shibuya away from safety, or so he thought. But the people that he evacuated were caught in Sukuna's domain expansion, right? So it's I mean, I can't imagine Toge really being in any sort of mortal danger or anything like that. Like, again, I keep on talking about the consequences that we've seen so far with Nanami, with Nobara and stuff. I can't imagine any more real significant casualties, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe Naobito is on life support right now. Maki is probably not doing so hot as well. We don't know where Panda and Kusakabe Sensei are right now as well. So, but yeah, hey, thanks very much for coming by for this week's Manga Lounge. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that positive juju every week. I guess that's all I got to say this week. Oh, I forgot to introduce my my JUJUTSU Kaisen cup. I got my hands on it a long time ago, but I had it tucked away and I completely forgot about it. But so I'll be using this probably. Let's see, got Fushiguro, got Gojo, Itadori, and Nobara. Nice little cup. But hey, cheers to you. You know how we do. Mata yoroshiku. Alright.